Also, this version, you don't start singing right when it happens.
You don't start singing right when it happens? When do you start singing?
No, don't start singing here. Don't.
I need a cue. Conduct me.
Right here.
Fight on, you stalwart ram
team,
on to the goal.
Tear the Cowboys' line asunder
as down
the field we thunder. Knights of the green and gold, fight with all your might.
Fight on, you stalwart ram team. Fight, 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 go Rams! I wish I sang the entire thing as confidently as I sing the last couple lines here.
Yeah. Okay.
Fight, 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 go Rams!
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee and Contemplation. This is episode 37. Don't really know any number 37s out in the sporting world.
Yeah, a lot of hate for number 37.
Yeah, so, but if you do wear number 37, probably not that famous of a player.
Absolutely not. If Cam doesn't know who you are,
Yeah.
you basically don't exist.
So, yeah.
Welcome
Cameron?
Yep.
Yeah. We'll redo that.
Okay, let's start it over.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee and Contemplation. This is episode 37. There isn't really any popular number 37s out in the world, sporting world, that is. Maybe.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, no, I don't know anybody.
Yeah, I don't know anybody either. There might be a few kind of lesser known players.
I'm not really coming through on my headphones very well, by the way. It might be the beanie. Hold on. Can you hear me when I talk?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
I can't hear myself like at all. And I have my maybe I didn't plug this in all the way. For some reason it's not coming through like at all. Hold on. I could hear the song and everything, so I know the headphones are working. But you can hear me talk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Testing. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I think I just had to unplug it and plug it back in. We're good.
Okay.
All right, you ready to start?
Yep.
Okay, I'm holding up the line now.
Yep.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee and Contemplation. This is episode 37. We don't really know any players with the number 37.
Nope. Not at all. I don't know anybody, and if Cam doesn't know who you are, you basically don't exist because Cam knows every sport, every player. There might be some hockey player. That sounds more like a hockey number than anything else.
Yeah, or even like a bullpen pitcher or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, so
Scott Oberg, what was his number? He was
45.
I was accused 30 something. He wasn't.
Brian Shaw was 29. Mike Dunn might have been 37, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So
Are these all Rockies players?
yeah,
Well, you know who's not a Rockies player anymore, Cam?
Nolan Arenado.
Well, anyways, that's Cameron Nylander, and I'm Brent Schaefer, and welcome
Yeah.
to the podcast.
Yeah, so also this will be our first episode that we are recording ourselves on camera. So
Yep, we're going to see how it goes.
yeah, so we'll probably post probably just unedited version of the he's giving some hand cues and telling everybody what's up, I guess.
Hang loose, dude. Look at that.
Okay, so we're just gonna.
This is a
bit.
I don't know if the video is a good idea. I like to act a fool.
Yeah, but probably not a lot of editing for the video portion. We're probably just gonna post it unedited, just kind of.
Yeah, just for funsies.
Just for funsies,
Yeah.
and then kind of try to build our brand a little bit too, so people know
Absolutely.
what we look like and can kind of see what goes down behind the scenes.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and today is February 3rd.
Yep. And real quick, as far as building our brand goes, we're also going to start messing with the way that we record the podcast. Not the way that we record it, but what we talk about. We're going to go a little more niche and a little more single, like with the single focus, because we kind of hop around everywhere. So we're thinking about maybe dropping the sports segment altogether after this week and just doing pop culture. But we're going to mess around with a couple ideas to really see what we do best.
Yeah. And we decided this to be the last kind of like sports one because so many things have happened over the past 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because this is the first time we've recorded in about 2 weeks.
Yep. Cam got COVID and screwed up our recording
Not
schedule.
me.
Cam got COVID.
Mm-mm.
Can you tell look how pale he looks on the video?
I look like I just have a giant black face right now.
I don't like that you're one of the whitest people I know, but in the video, when you look at it, I look so much whiter than you do.
Yeah.
And
You also are right in the sun.
I am right in the sun. It's not. I'm not usually this white. This is like a one-off. This is like a one-off occurrence, by the way.
No.
It's the sun, Cam.
Okay.
It's the sun. I'll be tan by the end of the video. Don't worry. With that
Yeah,
sun coming right in through that window.
And then you'll be not tan tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll just be
That's
red.
how-
I'll be
that's
red
how-
lobster.
Yeah. But yeah, over the past 2 weeks, there's been the conference championship games for NFC and AFC. And then the Super Bowl's happening this Sunday against the...
Next Sunday.
Nope, this Sunday.
Oh, you're right. It is this Sunday because we already
February
missed.
7th.
That was already 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Wow, that's time flies, man.
Yeah. So, because there's usually the Pro Bowl the week before. Which
Was it in between week?
Yeah, they did like a virtual Pro Bowl.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, so they had
Did
those
they
like...
play Madden? What's virtual?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They had those players play as themselves on Madden, I
That's
guess.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's what they did last Sunday. And then, so the Super Bowl this year is the Kansas City Chiefs, back-to-back AFC champions.
Yeah, everyone kind of saw that coming. I thought maybe the Bills might be able to beat them,
Yeah.
Not
and
to be.
then the Buccaneers beat the Packers.
but God, dude. So that game was, I'm a Packers fan, not the biggest NFL fan, but I like watching the Packers in the playoffs. They went down big deficit early, going into halftime, but then they came out and started dominating in the third quarter, and I was like, they might be able to make it work. Didn't quite be able to make it work, but I think if they played a better first half, they would have won that game. Not necessarily easily, but by a touchdown or two. And just that bad first half just screwed them up the rest of the game.
Yeah. Also, they kicked a field goal down 8.
Don't even, down 8.
Because it was
On,
31-23, right?
On like the 7 or 8 yard line on 4th and goal. And they should have gone for it, dude. Because what they were going to try to do was kick the field goal, get the onside kick. If they didn't get the onside kick, try to stop Tom. You're not going to stop Tom Brady in the last 2 minutes of the game. So that was a big question that Matt LaFleur, their head coach, had to answer after the game. And it's just a bad call. You could tell Aaron Rodgers was not happy with the call. Because Aaron Rodgers, 4th down, he only has to get 8 yards to get a touchdown and then a 2-point conversion. Like, I trust Aaron Rodgers in that situation. But regardless, it shouldn't have even gotten to that point. They had a couple other chances to win the game. They had back-to-back interceptions in which they had 3 and outs right afterwards, so they kind of wasted those. Overall, unfortunate game, but we are where we are now.
Yeah.
Who do you want to win the Super Bowl?
I think...
I kind of want the Tom Brady to win, dude.
I think as a Broncos fan, this was probably kind of the worst case scenario Super Bowl for Broncos fans because Broncos fans hate Tom Brady and they hate the Chiefs.
Yep.
But the CSU fan in me wants Shaq Barrett to win a Super Bowl. So I'm kind of rooting for the Buccaneers just because of Shaq Barrett, who played for CSU. Do you remember that New Mexico Bowl?
Was that the one when I was at the Packer game?
I believe so.
Where they had like the crazy, like the kick return or something?
They were down 13 with 6 minutes left, and they were down 16 with 6 minutes left, and they decided to punt it.
That's right.
And then they did a 3 and out and got the ball back, and then went down the field and scored to make it a 8-point game. So they might have been down 15 because I think they were down 15. And then the next possession for Washington State, they ran an option play. So I don't know what they were thinking there. And Shaq Barrett stripped the quarterback and got the ball back, and then they reviewed it, and he ended up being down. So Washington State got the ball back, and they ran the same play the next time, but handed it to the running back, and Shaq Barrett stripped the running back.
Nice.
And got the fumble recovery.
Yep.
So I've been watching Shaq Barrett and been a fan of him since CSU. Then he was a Bronco, and now he's a Buccaneer. So just super excited for him to be there. And I think I'm rooting for them to win, even though it'll be Tom Brady's 7th.
Yeah, I'm rooting for them to win just because, as like a quasi Broncos fan, I don't want to see the Chiefs win and repeat. Like I always like to see. I say new people win, even though it's Tom Brady and Gronk again.
Mm-hmm.
But even just the narrative of Tom Brady going to a new team, new coach, whole new system, it would be kind of cool to see him win a Super Bowl the first year that he's there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would solidify him as probably the greatest quarterback ever.
Yeah, I think a lot of people already think he is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying it was because of Bill Belichick that he was dominating. And now
Which I think Bill Belichick was a big part of it, absolutely.
And now after this year, it shows that it was kind of both of them. It wasn't just Bill Belichick, that Tom Brady is one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, it was both of them together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Cam, the other big thing in the sporting world.
Yeah, we kind of introduced it a little bit when we were talking about Rockies players.
Cam's heart is literally broken in two.
Yep. So
tell me about it, Cam.
Over the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, I believe it was Sunday, Nolan Arenado got traded to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Out of all the teams, dude.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be as upset about it if they didn't get anybody in return.
Mm-hmm.
They literally got no players in return for that trade.
Yeah, dude.
And they also are giving the Cardinals $50 million to take him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So the Rockies owe the Cardinals $15 million this year, and then if Nolan opts to stay in his contract, because after this year he has an opt-out clause, but if he opts into that, the Rockies need to give them $35 million. So basically, they have to give him $50 million.
It doesn't make any sense. It's a terrible trade.
I think it's probably the worst trade, not even just in Colorado history, probably one of the worst trades in sports history.
It's definitely possibly the worst trade I've heard of in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. They could have gotten so many players from the Cardinals, or even from other teams. Like, he could have gone to any team, essentially, right? Or just shitloads of money, and then bought a bunch of players with the money. Instead, they gave away literally once in a lifetime player for nothing in return, basically. Not nothing, because they did get some players, but they're all no-name.
Yeah, they got like
small market guys.
They got like 5 prospects. The highest one was Bombard. I don't know if you remember him from last year.
I don't.
But he started 14 games as a pitcher. He's a pitcher, and he started 14 games for the Cardinals last year and had a 1.64 ERA.
Okay.
So
pretty good.
Might inflate a little bit with Coors Field.
Yeah, or a lot of it.
Okay.
Fake ass field, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Fake ass field.
But yeah, basically I'm a free agent.
Nolan's
right
stats
now.
are all going to drop leaving Coors Field.
I'm a free agent fan right now.
If you want Cam to root for your team, hit him up on Twitter and tell him why.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the Mariners right now, even though they're very similar to how the Rockies are run. They've never won a World Series.
Cam told me behind closed doors that he might potentially be a Dodgers fan soon.
No,
so
not even close.
That's true.
My hatred for the Rockies will not trump my hatred for the Dodgers ever.
He told me he might. He said it might. It didn't say it was for sure, but he said he might. I've got a Dodgers hat if you want it. I got a couple Dodgers hats, shirts. I got socks. I got so many Dodgers socks, dude.
You got Clayton Kershaw socks?
I got Clayton Kershaw socks from you. Yeah, you want to borrow them?
No.
Let me know, dude.
You still have that Astros hat?
Yeah. I framed it, actually.
Nice.
Put it in a case on my mantle.
Yeah.
No, that thing's long gone, dude.
Yeah.
I think I gave that to somebody, actually.
I think you might have given it to Matt. Remember Matt?
Matt from work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you might be right. That freaking kid, dude. Isn't that the dude who moved away?
Yeah, moved back to Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost a bet to Cam a long time ago, and I had to wear an Astros hat because this was after the Astros beat the Dodgers in the World Series. This was before we knew they cheated, by the way. So that makes me wear, because I had to wear the hat at work for a week.
Yep.
That makes me wearing the hat even worse because I was wearing a cheater's hat.
Yeah. I think that was one of my favorite moments too, was when somebody asked you when you were at the window if you were happy about the Astros winning.
Yeah, some Astros fan pulls up and he's like, "Oh man, is that awesome? The Astros won." It's like, "Here's your food, sir. Go away, please." Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm a free agent one. I'm leaning towards the Mariners, also kind of leaning towards the Cardinals, but I grew up not really liking the Cardinals because of what they do to the Rockies.
Everything you like is Colorado related, right? You're a Broncos fan, you're a Nuggets fan, obviously you're a big CSU fan.
Avalanche fan.
Avalanche fan, yep, definitely. The Colorado Crush.
Yep.
Arena
football.
The arena football team. What about the Mammoth? Is that what they're called? The lacrosse team?
Yeah.
Yep. We have a soccer team too.
Rapids.
The Rapids, that's right. That's a cool name. The Colorado Rapids, that's a cool name. So I feel like you gotta keep the baseball close. As close as possible, right?
Is the closest one the Royals then?
No, I feel like the closest one, to be honest with you, is probably the Diamondbacks. As far as like location. Or Texas might be closer.
I mean, I could root for the Rangers because David Dahl's on the Rangers now.
Yeah. Let me pull up a little map real quick and we'll see who the closest team by proximity is.
Okay.
Are you trying to go west or are you trying to go east? Or you can even go north and south. There's a lot of emptiness around us. Obviously Wyoming doesn't have a team. Utah doesn't have a team. There's no baseball team in Utah, right?
Yeah, I think it's only the Jazz. I think they only have one professional team.
Yeah, so the borders, so obviously Arizona is to the bottom left of us.
Mm-hmm.
New Mexico is right underneath us, but there's no New Mexico. Mm-hmm. Texas is to the bottom right. Kansas is right next to us. Wyoming and Nebraska are on top, and they don't have any professional baseball teams.
And the Royals aren't even from Kansas. They're from Missouri, I'm pretty sure. I think it's Kansas City.
Oh, that
Missouri.
Kansas City? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, the closest one is Arizona. Because this is kind of crazy to think about, but all the bordering states besides Texas and Arizona, they don't have teams. Idaho doesn't have a team. Salt Lake City doesn't have a team. Utah doesn't have a team. Wyoming doesn't have a team. Nebraska doesn't have a team. Kansas, I don't think they have a team.
Yeah, it might be. I think it's Kansas City, Missouri. That's why I think there's a big rivalry between the Cardinals and the Royals.
Gotcha. Oklahoma doesn't have a team. And then there's Texas. So really, I think Arizona. So it's the Rangers, the Astros, or the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals. Yes. Did you see their tweet by the way when they said stop trying to get us to announce the Nolan trade? Yeah. So basically, you have to be a Diamond. You don't have to be, but the closest ones are Diamondbacks, Rangers, or Astros. And I know you're not gonna be an Astros fan.
No,
I know that for sure.
And I won't be a Diamondback fan either because I don't want to become a in the division
NL West
fan. Because I'll still root for the Rockies.
They got to get new management.
They just have to get new ownership, new management.
100%, dude.
And I don't really want to support. Yeah, I just don't really want to support them until that happens. And I hope other fans can do that too, because Coors Field is probably one of the nicest baseball fields.
It's a sweet stadium. What year was it built?
95 or 97.
It's crazy to think it's already like one of the oldest stadiums in all of baseball. It's like 4th or 5th on the list.
Yeah. So, it's such a fun environment that people buy tickets, not even if the Rockies suck or even if they're good. They just buy tickets because it's like a pre-party hangout to go to downtown Denver, basically.
Yeah, it's a great day to go. On like a nice day, you can sit in the rock pile for $2, eat like some hot dogs, drink some beers or whatever. Going to Rockies games is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's what sucks is that ownership doesn't really care about the product on the field because they're making money no matter what.
Yeah, they just want to make their money
because of the Coors Field environment. And I hope other fans like me, and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter asking season ticket holders to cancel their subscriptions or just cancel their
queue, basically.
So a message can be sent that they're pissed off and they don't want to support this team until there's a new manager or GM, basically.
Last year, there's 32 teams in baseball, or 30?
30, because there's 3 divisions of 5 in the AL and NL.
Okay, so there's 30 teams in baseball. 28 teams hit their salary cap. 2 teams didn't. The Rockies was one of the teams that didn't. And it's like you have no reason not to hit yourself. The only reason is the managers will make money or the owners will make money. But you should be spending every possible dollar to get the best possible team to try to win a World Series.
And that's exactly why Nolan left or demanded a trade, was because they had all this money and they just lost DJ LeMahieu. They didn't make any off-season moves. This all happened going into the 2020 season before COVID. And if COVID didn't hit, I'm positive he would have been traded either before the season started or even mid-season right before the trade deadline because of nothing happening. And then COVID happened and it was a 60-game series and he's like, well, I'll just play and get my money. That way I don't have to worry about demanding trades or anything like that.
Nolan said too, when he signed one of the biggest contracts ever in any sport, 8-year deal?
8-year, $360 million. He was making about 27 and a half a year.
Crazy. But he said when he signed that deal, he's like, I'm going to sign this if you promise me to try to make this a championship team, and they did not.
Yeah, and
they did the opposite of that.
Yeah, and he didn't even want an opt-out clause in his contract, and he did have a no trade clause too, and players can waive that. And he wanted to play for the Cardinals, so that's why he waived that.
I'm happy for him to go. I don't like the Cardinals just because there was some beef with the Dodgers, especially not in the last 3 or 4 years, but for like 8 years before that. They saw each other every year in the playoffs, and the Dodgers usually came out on the losing end. But I do, for Nolan's sake, that's a great organization to go to after leaving the Rockies, because the Cardinals want to win the World Series, and they have some of the best fans in all of baseball. You can't deny that. Like, their fan base is incredibly dedicated. And so for Nolan's sake, he's going to a nice fan base. He's going to an organization that wants to win, has a lot of talent. Like, they're going to make the playoffs, pretty much guaranteed. So for that sake, that's good for Nolan, but for Rockies fans, it's heartbreaking.
Also, with the Cardinals, people are saying that the Rockies are becoming their farm system because they traded Matt Holliday there, they traded Larry Walker there, and they also traded some pitcher back in the early 2000s. And Dexter Fowler's there now too.
Dude, the Yankees and the Cardinals are just picking them. Yep.
So, and then now Nolan's there.
I didn't even think about that. That's kind of like not funny, but that's kind of funny.
Yeah. So, and my dad was talking to me, and he's like, "This is why I've never really become a Rockies fan, because they trade away generational talent. The only one that kind of stuck around was Todd Helton." And that's because
he retired as a Rocky, didn't he?
Yeah. He played his whole year for the Rockies, I'm pretty sure. And Cargo, too, was kind of another player that was around for a while.
Does he still play, or did he retire?
I'm pretty sure he retired. Daniel Murphy retired. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that, which was kind of surprising. He didn't have the longest career, but
I think 13 seasons, maybe 9. It was either right around 10 or a little above, like, right around 15.
Definitely like a solid long career, but kind of surprising that he announced to retire.
So that's what happened over the weekend in the baseball world.
Crazy.
Basketball, NBA, a lot of stuff's happening. Some surprise games are happening. Did you see the Wizards beat the Nets?
Yeah, they beat the Nets, and they were down by. They were down by 5 with like 15 seconds left.
And then
hit a major 3.
And then Russ hit a 3 to put him in the lead.
Yep, so they hit a major 3 with Bradley Beal.
Yep.
And then on the inbound pass, they stole it and then hit Russ, and then Russ hit a 3, which is crazy. Russ is not the best 3-point shooter to beat, and the Nets came down and missed the next shot. So crazy comeback win. And it was one of the highest scoring games ever. It was like 146 to 145.
149 to 146.
Insane, dude. Freaking nuts.
Because it was 145 to 140, and then they hit those threes, and then the Nets missed the baskets, so they had to foul.
The fact that they almost scored 300 points in an NBA game is ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, did you see that Joker from the Nuggets won Player of the Week
and Player of the Month
back to back? Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Nuggets are playing very good.
Yeah, so they're 12-7 now, I believe.
They've won like 8 of their last 9 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, because they were right at 500 or like 5-7 or something like that, and now they're
they started off real shaky.
Yeah, and now they're like 13-7, like, because I know they were on a 6-game win streak, and then they lost to the Spurs, and then they destroyed the Jazz, so they've won like 7.
The Jazz are playing good too.
Jazz won 11 straight, and then they lost to the Nuggets.
Let's go Nuggets.
Yeah. And then
they'll probably meet in the playoffs again this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Which we're inching closer to.
Yeah. Nuggets had their first postponement on Monday. They were supposed to play the Pistons, and that's kind of why they didn't make a complete schedule after All-Star break, was to make up those postponed games.
Right. All-Star break, we're coming kind of close, right?
7th,
yeah, we're getting pretty close because they've already played 20 plus games, and it's usually around 35 or 40 that they do the All-Star break.
So probably around 30.
Yeah, this year, because this is a shortened season.
For 72. So
yep.
It's fun to see different kind of teams dominate this year compared to previous years. Lakers are still dominating, Clippers are, but like the Nets weren't very good last year. Suns are surprising a lot of people.
Yep.
Nuggets as well.
Wizards. I'm just kidding. They're terrible.
I almost
They're
said
terrible in general.
No.
Yeah.
And then
The Rockets are actually kind of surprising some people.
Rockets have won 4 straight now that they got Victor Oladipo.
Yep. They needed a big man.
Yeah.
Desperately.
Victor's not a big man.
But isn't he the tallest player on their team though?
No.
Now?
I doubt it. He's a shooting guard.
Yeah, but their tallest player before was 6'6". How tall is Victor Oladipo?
Might be 6'6".
That's what I'm saying. I think they needed another like everybody else is like 6'3" or whatever. Yeah. They're the smallest team in basketball. They play small ball.
Yeah. But they're playing really well. I think Victor fit their play style more than James Harden with the small ball, because I know James doesn't like to play that small ball.
Right.
He likes to drive and have that paint kind of congested, and that only happens when you have a big man down there.
Yeah, James Harden getting traded to the Nets was crazy, but they have one of the best offenses probably of all time. I mean, they scored, like we talked about, 145 points, but they have no defense, dude.
No.
If you score 145 points and lose, that's insane.
Yeah. They just beat the Clippers last night, and it was like 130 to 127.
Yeah, they have no defense whatsoever. So basically, if they can make a trade for like even an okay defender, they'd be set. You know what I mean? Trade Kyrie, Joe Harris, and some third guy for Kawhi, and they'll be set.
He's not gonna.
No, Kawhi wants to win a chip with the Clippers, but they need a little bit of defense because I think they're the best team in the East. But when you give up 145 points, it's hard to say that you're the best team in the East. Or 149, however many the Wizards scored.
Yeah, we're a lot of. We say everything.
For all you video watchers, you're seeing the sausage get made right here, baby. Because the podcast, they're going to hear none of this.
Yep. So, let's see. How can I say this? I want to end the sports segment.
Okay.
But yeah, since we weren't able to record for those 2 weeks, a lot had happened. So we figured we'd just kind of do a lot to recap everything that had happened.
Yeah, we hope you guys can keep up.
Yeah,
so you just kind of went boom, 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 boom.
And it started with some NFL with the Super Bowl happening. Brody, by the way, took over your position.
What was my position?
Like the ticket organizer.
Oh, for the game, you mean? That's cool.
For Super Bowl, yeah.
Nice. He better be real loud, because if not, Lizzie's going to yell at him.
Yeah. I'm on sides this year.
Nice. Very cool.
With Nathaniel, so should be good.
Nice. Where's Carson helping you out?
Carson's takeout, so it's Nathaniel and I on sides.
Nice.
And it's 3 of the new kids plus Connor on tossing.
Nice.
And then another new kid dropping.
Are you guys going to reorganize the kitchen again?
Yep.
Nice.
We've got this nice trailer. I don't know if you probably haven't left your house yesterday night or today going down Main Street.
I did go to Starbucks this morning.
Did you see that big trailer?
I didn't look.
By Wing Shack?
I didn't look.
So that's like
usually when I drive by Wing Shack, I do this little move, No.
So you know how like 8th Ave used to bring the food truck
and
stuff for extras?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're doing, but it's like a trailer.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, so he works at a wing company that I worked for a long time. And Super Bowl was always like one of my least favorite days ever, but also one of my favorite days ever. I
think that's how I am, because it's nonstop busy, but everybody knows it's nonstop busy, and nobody has a bad mood about it.
Yeah, except, well, there's been a couple of freakouts on Super Bowl, but those people usually ended up getting fired later on anyways. But the thing about, you're just like in it with the team, and like it's kind of fun in a way because it's so high energy, and you're just slamming energy drinks, and you're swinging, and it's like poetry in motion almost. Yeah. It's cool, but it's also super stressful. Yeah. But you'll everybody works like 12-hour days. It goes by like that. Like it starts, and then we open at 11 or maybe 10.
We open at 10.
10 on Super Bowl, and then I keep saying we, but I don't work there. I haven't worked there in almost a year. Like it's coming up.
I know. I told my dad. I think it was. I went over and watched the CSU Boise State men's game on Friday.
They win?
No, they won on Wednesday though.
Nice.
But yeah, I went over there and I was talking about how Super Bowl's going to be weird without you there. Mm-hmm. But Brett doesn't work there anymore. It's like, he hasn't worked there since July.
Me and your dad, we were both kind of hammered. But we had like a long conversation about what was next at your wedding, which was in October. I left in July, so I'd already been gone for 3 months. And we were talking about like, oh, it's weird that I don't work at Wing Shack anymore. And then he's like, oh, what are your plans for the future? And I was like, this and this and this. And he's like, oh, that sounds really cool. He obviously doesn't remember that conversation. I've had some drunk conversations with your dad for like a long time. Your 21st birthday, like I saw you for like an hour, and then I hung out with him for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, we hung out 3 hours at the game.
Right. Well, yeah, I
But,
guess we were at the
like,
game all
after the
day.
game-
Yeah, we went to the Road 21, the bar.
34.
Road 34. Road 21. What, Forever 21? Rude 21? Who knows, dude? Your 21st birthday?
21st birthday, yeah.
Yeah. But I just ended up talking to your dad for like 3 hours over like 15 beers each. It was pretty cool.
And the tab was only like $60.
That place is awesome. If you are near Fort Collins,
Road 34.
the best. And they have pickle shots.
Pickle shots for like $3.50.
Ugh.
I had a scotch and soda and it was $6.50.
Yep. The only place I think that has better prices is the Tavern.
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
like, for the price you pay, Road 34 is a much nicer bar than the Tavern. But the Tavern, you can get a Jack and Coke for like $3.
Mhm.
Hard to beat.
Yeah, so that was not derailed from talking about the Super Bowl a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah.
But,
100%. I mean, you guys listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
We go off the rails, but we usually bring it back.
yeah. So then we talked about the Nolan trade and MLB and everything, and then
Okay,
some
real quick,
NBA.
let's sit on that Nolan thing for a
Okay.
second. Do you think the Cardinals are a World Series contender now?
I think they are.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it interesting to you that the possible three best teams are all in the National League now? Because you have the Dodgers, because they didn't really lose anybody, and they won the World Series last year. You have the Padres.
where did Jocks end up signing?
I don't know if he has yet. I think he's
Yeah.
just still a free agent right now. I think he might just end up signing again with LA. I hope he does because he's a very average player, but he's one of the best World Series players of the last 20 years. He just comes in and he's like, "Oh, it's the World Series. I guess I better get going."
Yeah.
And Andy's fun to watch. So for that reason, I hope he stays with the Dodgers, but we'll see. But yeah, you have the Dodgers, the Cardinals now maybe because they have some good pitchers. Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan on the same team. Matt Carpenter
He's
doesn't
kinda
seem to
fallen
age
off,
though, but
yeah.
yes.
And is it Osuna there?
Marcell Ozuna, I think he's
Mhm.
still there. Yeah, and then the Padres, who have one of the best offenses in baseball and signed one of the best pitchers in
Whitson.
baseball, and they already had a good pitching staff.
And
so
they got some Korean player that's supposed to be really good too.
hmm And so it's looking like the National League is stacked because I can't think of a whole lot of American League teams. Besides the
now that
Yankees.
yeah, and then especially now that the Rays lost Snell.
Right, I think that makes the Yankees the best team now in the American League.
Mhm.
So it's just crazy to think.
They
'Cause
signed DJ back.
in my childhood, the American League was so much stronger than the National League, and now it seems like it's kind of turning a little bit.
Mhm.
Same with NBA.
Yeah.
You have the
Eastern
Bucks,
and Western.
the Nets, Philly. That might be it, but still, that's three really good teams when it used to only be the Bucks the last couple of
Yeah.
years.
Definitely.
The Heat are still like they have a lot of the same players, but they're not playing as well as they did last
yeah,
year.
I don't think it was like a 1 in a million chance they made the finals. I think just something clicked.
The Celtics are also very good in
Yeah.
the East. I think it was like the Nationals a couple of years ago. They just got hot at the right time last year, and that's possible again this year. But right now they're like 6th or 7th in the standings.
Yeah.
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 I don't think they make the
Nuggets
finals
beat them
again.
by like, I think either close to 20. It was definitely a double digit win.
Yeah, I don't see the Heat making the finals again. But you have 4 or 5 really good teams in the East now, and there used to be not many.
But yeah, and then we ended on some NBA.
NBA, and we just revisited. Beautiful. All right, so for the video listeners, this is going to be a little interesting because normally we edit all this out, but right now we're going to transition into the next segment.
Yeah.
So Cam's going to pick a song, and it's going to be a little downtime for a second.
Yeah.
So just hang with us. We're going to talk about WandaVision
Yes.
is our next segment. Look at this. You're seeing the sauce being made, ladies and gentlemen. It's beautiful. So I think when we're going to talk about WandaVision, all 4 episodes that have come out so far. So if you haven't seen it yet, skip over this because we're absolutely going to get spoiler heavy. But I think we should talk about the first 3 episodes and then the 4th episode separately because the first 3 episodes were very much their own thing and then the 4th episode totally changed it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about WandaVision so far, Cam?
I think it's very interesting. It's just like we said even before we're talking about it now, we talked about the trailers and how we had no idea what it's going to be about. Even watching the first 3, you were like, I still don't know what this is
Yeah,
about.
it's very it was very confusing, but I loved the first 3 episodes. Like I loved it was like genuinely a funny sitcom. There was things that I was like, this is like so paint by the numbers on purpose. But I love that it's Wanda and Vision together.
Mm-hmm.
And there was generally times where I was like cracking up. I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, the scene or the episode, I think it's episode 2 when they do the magic show.
Yeah, that's the second episode.
Yeah, the whole magic show is hilarious.
When he gets the gum, he like swallows the gum and like grinds his gears up, and he's acting all silly.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's like doing actual hero stuff, and Wanda has to like pick up the slack.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah.
And then I laughed so hard. They have the piano, and he picks it up, and then she turns it into like cardboard piano, and the people are all like, "Oh!" And the one guy's like, "That was my grandma's piano." It's so good.
All the side characters I've really enjoyed a lot too. I always forget her name, but she's in Parks and Rec. She's in Step Brothers.
Yeah, I don't remember her name either, but she's hilarious.
She's hilarious in this. So yeah, it's just very interesting to see how Wanda kind of and Vision have to hide their powers a little bit.
Yeah,
that's in the first 3. You find out a little bit more.
Right.
In episode 4.
I thought the first 3 had a really good balance of like it's levity. And the whole time you're wondering, like, what's happening, you know? But you kind of sink into it and forget about that and just enjoy the show. But then there's, like, small moments where things get kind of weird. Like with the radio.
The radio, and then also in the first episode when they have those people over for dinner and he starts choking.
Oh, yeah.
And Kitty, her name, I don't remember her name.
But Kitty from that 70s show.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's telling Wanda, like, stop it.
Yeah, she's like acting really weird. Yeah,
telling the husband to stop it, but like she's kind of looking at Wanda like, help him.
Yeah, there's weird moments where it like breaks the reality of the show, and you remember you're like, oh yeah, this is like fake, like this is not supposed to be happening. You know what I mean? And so I really enjoyed that because you go from like really funny to being like on the radio it was really creepy. It's like, Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda, who's doing this to you? Can you read me? Yeah, and then everybody around them starts like acting really weird. I love the first 3 episodes just for the mystery of like what the hell is going on.
Yeah, because you also see that like beekeeper come out of the sewage.
Yeah, hole. And Wanda just goes no,
and it goes back in time and everything.
Yep. Which is kind of a prelude to what ends up happening in the 4th episode.
Exactly.
I was like, what does she mean? No, and then but we'll get into that.
And then also, it's weird how the doctor, because she gets pregnant and like. Vision's so confused. He's like, how should she be like 6 months pregnant?
Yeah, over the course of like 5 days, she gets pregnant to having the baby.
Yep. So, and the doctor's like, just kind of laughs it off about everything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I really liked too in the first 3 episodes they had commercials, but there was like one for like Stark Industries and then like a couple Hydra commercials, and they were all like hilarious spoofs, and it was really good.
Yeah. Because I guess they're supposed to the sitcom's supposed to go through each decade, basically.
Yeah.
So it started with like the 50s, 60s, 70s.
It started black and white in the first 2 episodes. Then the 3rd episode it was WandaVision in color.
Yep.
So it was like the 70s.
Well, the first one was the 50s, second episode was the 60s, and the 70s was
the 3rd episode.
And the 4th episode.
Let's talk about the 4th episode.
4th episode was not WandaVision, the like sitcom.
Yeah, 4th episode was finally like, hey, let's break the 4th wall.
Yeah.
Kind of, I guess like the 5th, like they break the reality of the WandaVision show to show us what's actually happening.
Yes.
The opening of that episode, by the way, was freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. Do you know what they called it when people came back from the snap?
The return?
No.
I don't know.
They called it the blip.
The blip, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
That's why in like Far From Home when Flash is trying to get alcohol, but she's like, no, he blipped, so he's actually only
this old, on the plane, and he's like, come on, yeah.
So it starts out with everybody blipping back.
I thought that was so cool because I didn't know exactly how much it was going to tie into the Avengers movies. Dude, that's like, you can't tie it in any more than that, you know?
Exactly. And it's also crazy to think how, like, where people were when they came back and where they were when they disappeared.
It's crazy because the actress lady is surprised because she's like, wait, you told me her mom passes away. And she's like, wait, you told me my mom was fine this morning. And the lady goes, no, that was 5 years ago. Like, you blipped. She basically tells her, you blipped. Your mom died 3 years ago. Yeah, so it would be 5 years. It would be so weird to be one of those people that blip, and for them it feels like a second, but for everybody else it was 5 years.
Yeah, so that's kind of very similar to how that show I was telling you about, Manifest.
Right, when they're on the
that's
plane.
very similar to what happens in that show is these people go on a flight, they're gone for 5.5 years, but it only feels like they were gone for the plane ride.
Yeah.
And that stuff happens to them, where family members or something, family members, friends, people passed away, things happened in their lives that happened over that 5 years, those 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also the doctor that's in that room with Geraldine coming back.
Geraldine, that's her name.
That's her name in the WandaVision show, but I can't remember her. It's something Rambo. It's Detective Rambo.
Detective Rambo, that's right.
It kind of cuts away from her running to a doctor, and one of the nurses asks him what's going on, and he says, "I don't know. We don't have the capacity for all of this. They're all coming back."
Yeah, he's like, we're at capacity. Yeah, that would be so intense. Like, I feel like a hospital is one of the most intense places to show everybody blipping back in. You also find out throughout the course of the episode that a lot of the people in the WandaVision show are SWORD employees.
Yes.
And they're like, because I love like the detective scene when they're putting everything on the board and they're like asking the questions. Like, I don't know why, but I thought it was awesome that they write on the whiteboard, they're like, is Vision dead? And I was like, that's because like we don't know if he is or not. So it's like all the questions that the audience had, the SHIELD members or the SWORD members are trying to figure out, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. So also the people in Westview aren't SWORD members. They have no idea who they.
But they're going through. Well, not everybody, but they're going through, and there was like, oh, this is Detective Blank, and this is when they're putting like the pictures on the thing. Not every single person, but they're like, oh, that's Detective whatever, and this is Detective
and Jimmy
whoever.
Woo, who was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, because he was in charge of Scott's house arrest. He's the one that comes through on the radio.
Yep, and it's funny too when they're talking about kids because they're watching the WandaVision show and Wanda has the kids, and the other detective is eating the bag of chips, and she's like, "Do you want one?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've thought about it. Like I've thought about like little Jimmy Woo running around." And she like gives him the bag, and he's like, "Oh, a chip. Yeah, I'll take a chip."
Yeah. And then it's also funny too because she gives birth to twins, and he's like, "Ah, twins. What a twist." And then it cuts to the other detective like crying, and he like looks at her all weird, and she goes, "What? I'm invested."
Yeah, so good, dude. Dude, the part when in the 4th episode when Wanda like looks over and Visions is dead, not dead, but it's like his what's it called?
It was the Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone is
ripped out.
Yep, it's missing, and like he's got the big hole in his forehead.
And he's all gray.
That kind of scared me a little bit. Like I was not expecting that at all. And then let's cut to the big reveal of episode 4. It's Wanda, dude. Wanda's doing everything.
Wanda.
So my question to you, Cam, have you been looking up fan theories? Because you're a big fan theory person.
I have looked up some fan theories. I can't remember what the villain's name is, but her having twins in the show.
The Screenslaver.
No. Was kind of like a callback to a comic where she has twins, and this guy, I can't remember his name, but he gains his energy. He's an immortal being, but he's only immortal because he gains energy from taking souls from people. Not taking it from them, just souls being, like people passing away, he gains energy from that.
Gotcha.
He doesn't have to kill them to get that energy.
You can just feed off of it. Yeah.
So the theory is that he was very happy when that happened, or the snap happened, when half of the universe disappeared. So he gained a lot of energy from that.
Sure.
And then when Hulk snapped everybody back, blipped everybody back.
Wasn't it Iron Man that blipped everybody back?
No, he's the one that kills Thanos. By snapping.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, the Hulk does it at first, brings everybody back, and then Iron Man snaps and kills Thanos. Thanos disappears in the army. That's right. All the ships and everything. It's a cool scene. Yeah.
But the theory is that he's like,
let's go.
I am inevitable. I can't say that.
I am an inevitability. Isn't that what he says?
No,
he says,
I am inevitable.
Inevitable. It's close. That was close.
And then he says, and I
am Iron Man. That's so good, dude.
But the theory states that guy, I can't remember his name, is pissed because he lost
the power.
He got that energy, and then 5 years later, it So the theory is that he found people, Avengers basically, that made that stuff happen, and is all torturing them, and he's torturing Wanda and figuring out what's in her mind, and that's kind of what is the bigger villain.
So you don't think it's Wanda making the TV show?
I think it's Wanda in a sense making, it's like her alternate reality, but I don't really like that theory that much. It's just one of the theories.
The evil villain theory?
The evil villain theory, that he's like kind of forcing her to do it all, to see what she wants in her life and everything.
Right.
And that might be why she said no, because she needs to figure out a way to stop this from happening.
Right. Because the way I took it is when they find out that it's Wanda controlling everything, is that Visions is dead. I don't know if he is or not. Visions. Is his name just Vision?
Mm-hmm.
I think Vision sounds cooler. Give him an
S,
dude.
The show's called WandaVision.
Make him plural, dude. I think Vision is dead, and it's gonna be hard to turn it off. I think Vision is dead, and Wanda is having trouble coping with that, so she's creating this show so that she can have the cookie cutter life with him. She can have the kids and the husband and the suburban life. You know what I mean? But obviously we don't know yet. But that's what I took from it when they found out that Wanda's the one at least controlling everything in the show.
Yeah, so the other theory is very similar to that theory that I like a lot.
Yeah.
Do you remember in Civil War when Tony's going over Barf? That like augmented reality or whatever?
I don't. It's been a long time since I've seen Civil War.
It shows him as a younger kid and his dad leaving him, and that was the last time he saw his parents.
Oh, so he's doing, it's like, he does like the holograms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and when he's when he's going over all that it does, he brings up removing painful memories.
Mm-hmm. And replacing them with better ones.
Mm-hmm. So that theory is that she got the technology to do that, and we're watching her do that.
And she's aware that she's doing that. She's very purposely doing it. I feel like it's more of that than that it is someone's controlling Wanda. But I'm sure we'll find out sooner rather than later. Friday, right?
Friday, yep. So there's going to be 9 episodes in this season. So we've got 5 more left.
I was curious if you knew that on IMDb it says that it's a limited series. Is it just going to be the one season and then it's over? We don't know for sure. Okay, you got to keep me updated because I don't know if they've announced a second season.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
And usually IMDb is pretty spot on with that stuff.
So.
Yeah, interesting. I could see it being like 9 episodes then over, but also I could see it being 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, it's also supposed to kind of set up the next Thor movie, I'm pretty sure. Or one of
Love and Thunder?
Yeah, or it might be setting up the multiverse because it's going to be the next Spider-Man movie. It's supposed to be a multiverse movie, and it might set up that movie too. So
yeah,
we might also see one of those characters.
Yeah, but I'm really enjoying the show so far overall, and now that everything's starting to unravel, I can't wait to see what happens next. And it makes me really excited for Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Loki because it's like these shows can really tie into the movies. And I didn't know how much they could before, but now it's like nothing's off limits. Exactly. And I'm excited to see that. I still think the Loki show is the one I'm the most excited for.
Yeah, that one's in May.
Nice. Yeah, when this one ends, right? No. Not right when it ends, but there's nothing in between? Or Falcon Winter Soldier's first?
Falcon Winter Soldier's March 19th.
Okay, so that one's basically right when WandaVision ends.
Yep.
About 5 weeks from now.
Yep.
Nice. Cool. Is there anything else you want to say about WandaVision? Awesome. All right, we are going to transition, video people, into the last segment of the show. Which, spoiler alert, even though it's going to be in the title, we're talking about Two Towers today. Lord of the Rings and the Two Towers. Are you playing Very Old Friends, or which one are you going to do today?
I do Very Old Friends.
Nice, I like it. I like it. Dude, not a lot of peaceful music like that in the second movie.
No.
The second movie's a little more intense than the first movie. Yeah. So we're talking about Two Towers today.
Yep.
On last episode, we talked about Fellowship of the Ring. Next episode, we'll be talking about Return of the King. We're going through the whole trilogy. Cam, give me your initial thoughts on Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Is it better than Fellowship of the Ring?
Yes.
So do you think it goes 1, 2, 3 in terms of quality?
Yes.
And enjoyment? I agree with you. It's funny because I actually think I've seen the third one the least amount of times, for whatever reason. So I don't remember it all that well. So we'll have to re-talk about that again next week. Yeah. But I do think that Two Towers is definitely better than Fellowship.
Yes. I think you see a lot of the war that's about to happen in Return of the King.
Yep.
And that's kind of where it ends also, because Gandalf says in the end of the movie basically that like we might have won this defeat, but Sauron's now going to give us everything he has.
Yeah, he basically says like this battle is over, but the battle for Middle Earth is about to begin.
The battle for Helm's Deep is over. The battle for Middle Earth.
So badass, dude. Yeah, because that Helm's Deep battle is so sweet, but that's just a small taste of what you're going to get in the third movie. Because I remember the whole, like, I don't know if it's the last half or last third, but so much of Return of the King is like 3 different battles going on.
Yeah, because there's the Minas Tirith battle.
Minas Tirith, that's right.
And then after Minas Tirith, they go to the Black Gate to distract Sauron from Frodo.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, so this movie, the thing I really like about this movie is like, it's the perfect character development movie. Because the first movie, there's so much happening that they introduce the world, the story, the characters, their arcs, what's going to happen. This movie, you get to spend more time with the characters. So you learn more about Aragorn. You learn more about... You don't really learn about Gimli and Legolas, but you get to spend more time with them.
Yeah.
They're hilarious, both of them, especially together. I remember the scene when they're fighting on the wall in Helm's Deep and they're counting. And he's like, that's 2. He's like, I'm at 17. He's like, I'll be damned if I let an elf beat me. Yep. I remember that scene, which was hilarious, but I forgot about later on when Aragorn and Gimli are going to jump onto the bridge, and he's like, I can't jump it, you have to throw me.
Yeah, he's like, let's start the fight or something like that. He's like, it's pretty far.
Yeah, I can't make it.
I can't make it, you're going to have to throw me.
Yep, and then he's like, don't tell the elf. He goes, not a word. It's so funny. So there's a lot of character development in this movie. You see a lot more of... Now that Merry and Pippin are doing their own thing with the...
Treebeard is the main Ent.
Ent, that's what they're called, yep. But now that they're kind of separated with Treebeard, you see Frodo and Sam by themselves kind of for the first time, and you see more of their development, and it'll set up a couple heartbreaking scenes in the third movie. A couple of awesome scenes in the third movie, too, because I thought Shelob was in this movie, the spider, the big spider. Oh, yeah. Nerd. But Shelob is not in this movie. I was like, where the hell is the big spider? Doesn't come until the third movie. With the pincers. But I just loved how much more you learn about each of the characters in this movie, and then obviously the movie climaxes with the Battle of Helm's Deep, and it's freaking awesome, dude. Yeah. As I've talked to you about before, one of my favorite scenes, 2 of my favorite scenes, I think in like all of movies, is in this movie, and one of them is when the orc is running with the torch and dives into the bombs and blows up the wall. Because the freaking king guy has to say, he's like, is this all you have, Saruman? No, it's not. He's got more. And then he blows the entire wall open. And then, of course, one of my favorite scenes from any movie ever is when he's like, look to the east on the dawn of the 5th day. Oh, my God. And then you see... Who is it? I did miss, though, who... So Gandalf is alive. You find out in this movie. He's Gandalf the White now. Awesome character transition. Yeah.
No power.
Yeah. Get off the gray, and then he throws his yeah. But who is it? So for the video listeners, hang with us for a minute because
someone's stealing a car,
and it's over. That was actually really quick. You guys,
they hot-wired it very fast.
That was good. That was very fast. Awesome. I hope you get away.
I hope it's not my car.
I hope it's not my car either.
I think they'd steal my car over your car.
I don't know. Have you seen the inside of your car?
I drove the Subaru.
Pretty dirty. Oh, you're the Subaru. Okay, I was gonna say. Plus, your car. Did your car still do the thing when you turn it on?
Not as much anymore. It does it slightly, but not as much anymore.
Nice. So maybe my dad was right. He's like, everything's fine. Yeah. Who is it that Gandalf goes to get? Because when Helm's Deep starts, it's 10,000 versus 300. When Helm's Deep starts, it's 10,000 versus 300 in Helm's Deep. Then the elves show up to make...
Who's he?
No one. That sounds like my mom's hammering something. No. So video listeners, when there's background noise, we usually stop, shoot the shit for a minute, and then cut it all out of the video, or cut it all out of the podcast. But since you guys are watching an unedited version, just hang out with us for a second. Just hang out and see what's going on.
Well, there's a lot happening
What
downstairs.
is going on? If you can hear that, that is my puppy, Elizabeth. Ellie, her name's Ellie.
Yes, I know.
Elizabeth.
Man.
I named her Ellie after the character in The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
we didn't tell the listeners why we sang the CSU fight song.
Why did we sing the CSU fight song, Cam?
Because I'm going to the CSU Wyoming game on
Mhm.
Saturday.
Let's make this one a video exclusive, actually. Let's
Okay.
let's do that. That's cool. Okay, tell me a little bit about why we sing the CSU fight song and what you're doing this weekend.
So on Saturday, the Border War basketball edition is happening in Wyoming, and Wyoming is allowing 2,000 fans into their arena.
Very
And
cool.
I am one of the lucky 2,000 that got tickets.
Nice.
My dad and my uncle got tickets, and my mom, and then I got 2 tickets for my wife and I.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very cool. The Nylander clan going
yeah,
to check out the game.
Very excited. First sporting event since CSU Senior Day for Nico Carvacho,
Beautiful.
which was in late February, so it's been about a year.
Wow. Crazy, dude. That's going to be awesome, man. You got to send some snap videos for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you think we're ready?
I think so.
Awesome. Well, that's very exciting. Very exciting. Okay, so let's cut back. So when Gandalf comes back, so it's 300 versus 10,000. Then the elves show up to make the odds a little bit better. Then Gandalf shows up with his army. Who is that he's with? I missed that part.
I think it's the king's son or nephew, because that's who they banish in the beginning.
So is it the rest of the Riders of Rohan?
Yeah,
Is it
Riders
those?
of
It's
Rohan.
those guys.
Mhm.
Okay, because that's what I thought, but I didn't. We had to cut for time because you were coming over today,
Mhm.
so I didn't have time to rewind and figure it out.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah. I
But
can't
yeah.
remember his name, but the king does say it when he sees him next to Gandalf.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so dude, that scene when Gandalf comes as the sun's rising, and he runs down the hill, dude. That's one of my favorite scenes in any movie.
And then it cuts after that to the Ents basically destroying Isengard by
Yep.
breaking down the dam,
They flood it.
killing any of the orcs.
Orcs. Yeah, that's right. Orcai.
Orcai, that's
Yeah.
what I meant to say.
Yeah, the special ones.
I said it weird though, I was like, orcs.
Orcs. Yeah.
Orcs. So yeah.
Yeah, I love too. In Gandalf's just so badass in this movie, dude. Even more than the first movie. First of all, because you figure out he's alive, which if you've never read the books is actually shocking because the first movie makes it seem like he dies, and then this movie opens with you see him, dude. It's so badass because I thought it was just the first time I saw the trilogy. I thought it was just going to show his death scene again, just to remind everybody, hey, this is where we're at. But then you see him falling, and then he falls faster and grabs the sword in midair.
Mhm.
Oh my god, dude, so epic.
Yeah. And then it shows the flashback of him battling him on the highest peak, I think is what
Yep.
he
So
calls it.
before they get to the peak, it's sick because you see there was a great shot, dude, of they're falling through this narrow canyon, and then it zooms out and there's a giant lake, and you just see the light of the Bell Rock falling. Oh my god, so cool.
Yeah. And
But
then when they run into him
Mhm.
again,
that's when he talks about
It
beating him on
talks
the
about
peak.
beating him.
Yep, killing him.
Yeah.
So sick, dude. Yeah, and then obviously comes to save the day at the end of the movie. Gandalf's just a freaking legend, dude. Let's talk about Smeagol a little bit.
okay.
Because I feel really bad for Smeagol in this
Yeah.
movie. You start to actually care about Smeagol a lot. And then as we'll talk about in the third movie, you get more backstory on him at the beginning of the third movie. That's how it opens, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see that scene now, spending more time with Smeagol. But Smeagol's just a hobbit who got corrupted by the ring and now is just having battles with himself.
Yes.
between him, Smeagol, and Gollum.
But yeah, so that's why he starts calling himself Gollum, basically, or not like calling himself that, but people call him Gollum,
yeah,
because he's like Gollum,
mm-hmm.
and like,
and it's intense when there's a couple of scenes where he's just arguing with himself, Smeagol and Gollum. But one of the most intense ones is when Boromir's brother, Faramir, is what he's asking him. He's like, "What are you doing here?" And for like 3 minutes, Smeagol and Gollum are just arguing with each other, and he's just sitting there watching it, like in shock. Mm-hmm. I would be in shock too. I'd be like, "This is insane."
Yeah, because I think it's earlier in the movie when like Smeagol kind of is able to stop that second voice from coming into his head.
Yeah, it's the scene when Frodo and Sam are sleeping.
That's right.
And he's like arguing with himself at night.
Yeah.
And then Smeagol kind of wins the battle, and you think Gollum's gone permanently, but he's not gone permanently.
And so Frodo kind of betrays him a little bit, but not really, because he's just trying to keep him close because he's kind of the guide for them.
Right. Because he's been to Mordor, but not Mordor, the Mount Doom and stuff before.
Yeah. So he kind of wants to keep him around, and so he kind of allows him to get captured, and that's why why Smeagol believes that he betrayed him. But I think it was more of the fact that he's related to Bilbo, and Bilbo was the one who stole the ring from Smeagol in the first place.
Right.
And so I think finding out that he's a descendant of a Baggins really kind of switches him back to that inner conflict within himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as you see at the end of the movie, now Gollum is starting to silence Smeagol, and Gollum's kind of the lead between the two of them now. So that just inner battle is very interesting, and you can't help but feel so bad for Smeagol, not for Gollum, but for Smeagol. And then, like I said, in the beginning of the third movie, it makes you feel even worse for him, because you see that he used to be an innocent guy. Oh man, I'm so excited to watch the third movie and get into it, dude. What else you want to talk about in the second movie? What else interests you?
I think the reason why it's such a great movie, and just trilogy in general, is that each movie sets up the next movie really well.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what the second movie does with the ending, showing that the battle's won in Helm's Deep, and Smeagol is back to Gollum now, and Gollum's kind of leading them into a trap, when she brought up
that's how the movie ends.
Spider.
Yep.
And then it just kind of pans up with them, with Gollum leading them on a path, and just continues to pan up, and then it's Mount Doom and the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah. Yeah, there's two things that set up the next movie perfectly. There's that, so you know that Frodo and Sam are walking into a trap, and that Gollum's about to betray them, or at least going to try and betray them, but we know that he does. And then also the scene with Gandalf, where he talks about this battle is won, but the real battle, the real one, is about to begin. Yeah. And it makes you just want to, like, I wanted to be like, because I finished watching Two Towers as you arrived today to record the episode. I wanted to be like, you know what, let's cancel today's episode. Let's just have a Return of the King watch party. Let's get it going, dude. I'm so excited to watch it. But what a great ending to the movie to set up the third movie.
And when we talked about Return of the King, Fellowship of the Ring.
Wow, it's way off.
When we talked about the first movie, you brought up how stupid it was that the two main villains are Saruman and Sauron.
Oh yeah, dude.
Also, it's stupid that the main two love interests for Aragorn are Éowyn and
yes.
Arwen.
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it because I've never read the books, but I'm sure when you read the book, it's easy to see the distinction between those four names. But watching the movie, you're like, wait, I thought Éowyn was
the elf.
So Éowyn is not the elf.
She's the king's daughter.
Right. Okay.
Or niece, I think.
And then Arwen. So it's Éowyn and
Arwen.
Arwen.
Just Arwyn, I think.
Okay, so Arwen and Éowyn. Yeah, and it's
Aowyn.
Is the elf.
No, is
the girl.
The mortal.
And then Arwen is the elf.
Yes.
It's
and the distinction is one letter, because it's Aowyn and then Arwyn.
I feel like people would have gotten mad, but I feel like in a movie context, because I don't watch movies with subtitles, I know sometimes you like to and some people do, I feel like in a movie context it would make sense to change the names a little bit, to be like, listen, you can't see the names, we have to say them, so it's just a different way to interact with the audience. So I feel like maybe they should have changed the names slightly. Maybe. But yeah, I noticed that too when I was watching it, because that's even more egregious.
Yeah.
than Sauron and Saruman. Because at least there's a couple letters, even a syllable there that's different.
Yeah.
2 love interests for the same character being almost exactly the same. It's not even fair. Yeah. And dude, he's going to slip up and say one of the wrong names at some point. And they're going to be like, bye, dude. I'm gone, dude. Yeah. But I noticed
gone
that.
Forever.
Yeah, gone forever. I noticed that too, so it's funny that you bring that up, because I almost forgot to bring that up. So it's just crazy, you know what I mean? If there was a situation like that in the 3rd movie, I'm going to turn it off.
I don't think there is.
Also, I've been messing it up for years. I've been calling them Elefantes. That's not what they're called. It's just Oliphants. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been calling it I don't know if Elefante is from something else.
I mean, I think that's how you say it in Spanish, but I'm not positive.
Well, I'm obviously Spanish, so that's why, right? But I've been saying it wrong forever. I haven't... I'm obviously Espanol, Cam, right? So... I haven't seen the trilogy in maybe 3 years before this point, 2 or 3 years, and so I've been saying Elefante for the better part of 3 years, and no one's corrected me. Not even you. Maybe just because you didn't know what I was talking about. Yeah. You're like, oh, you're just nodding. yeah.
That's why I kept nodding to Visions like the first 2 or 3 times you said it, and then you said it again. I
say it a lot of times.
Yeah, it's just.
See, I do that. I just kind of, my brain is like, that sounds right, and we'll just go for it. But yes, they're Oliphants, and I know you see a lot more of them in the 3rd movie. But they're freaking badass creatures.
That only counts as 1.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Oh man, I'm so excited for the Return of the King special. I like the episode that we're going to do for it, and that'll be next week for you guys. Cool. Did you want to do music Wednesdays? What's a good alliteration for Wednesday?
Wacky Wednesday.
Wacky Wednesday. I mean, that works, but that's not a music term.
Whimsical.
Sure. Whimsical Wednesdays, you know what I mean? You want to do 2 today?
Yeah.
Let's do 2, and then we'll finish it up. Once again, video listeners, you're just seeing the magic right here, because none of this is going to be in the podcast. Okay. You're just seeing unedited, live, raw video of the magic happening. Are you going to start us off?
I'm going to play the cue, and then,
The cue, by the way, for those of you that are listening, if you didn't know, is from Stranger Things.